in the parish of Exning, where Dave Tom trains, of course. And that takes us on to another real speed event. It's the King's Stand Stakes, runners and riders from Peter.
And number 1 is Amigo Loco, ridden by Simon Whitworth. 2 is Double Schwartz, Pat Edery. 3, Petrovich, Brent Thompson. 4, Polycratis, John Reed. 5, Sharp Romance, Ray Cochran. 6, Storm Warning, Walter Swinburne. 7, A Tall, Michael Canaan. 8, Fairouz, wearing a visor, written by Philip Waldron. 9, Holgate, Willie Carson. 10, Last Tycoon, Cash Asmussen. Last Tycoon for France. 11, Nomination, Richard Quinn. 12, Stalker, Paul Edery. 13, Gwydion, Steve Cawthon. And 14, Welsh Note, Tony Ives.
Well, only 3 fillies have won this race in the last 20 years, but I believe Gwydion's got a real chance of winning today. We saw her winning over this course last year in the Queen Mary Stakes. Do you want me to talk over? Here between Steve Cawthon on Gwydion and Lester Pickett on the far side on Welsh Note, and these two have drawn clear. And despite the strength of Lester, Gwydion, although a little bit green still and feeling the ground perhaps, quickens away in the last 50 yards to win well. Well, Gwydion now back to her best after a lengthy period off course and back to 5 furlongs. And another course winner with a big chance is the Northern Challenger Holgate, back to 5 furlongs since the time that he won the Cornwallis Stakes here last autumn, with a remarkable run up the far rails. Welsh Note on the far side, Maroubs, very in between these two. Rustic Amber, Fairouz making ground on the stand side, and Holgate making ground on the far side as they come to the furlong marker. And it's Welsh Note, ridden by Sean Payne, pressed by Maroubs on the far side. Fairouz coming fast on the stand side. Well inside the final furlong, it's Fairouz coming to challenge Welsh Note. And Maroubs coming through, and Holgate on the far side. There's terrific race at the line. Holgate just wins it from Maroubs and Fairouz. Holgate just beating Fairouz and Welsh Note there. Of course, there's a line there between Gwydion and Holgate through Welsh Note, and there's not a lot between them, obviously, on those 2 bits of running. So, fascinating race in prospect. Open betting, I suspect, although Double Schwartz was the favourite this morning. News of that on our way to join Jimmy.
In fact, Double Schwartz is joint favourite with Gwydion. They're 5-2, and Last Tycoon is 4-1. Holgate, 8-1. Nomination 10s. Welsh Note is 14-1. Storm Warning and At All and Stalker 16-1. Fairouz 20-1. 50-1 bar these.
Well, some very good sprinters have won this race in the past. In more recent years, Lochnagar, God's Walk, Solinus, Double Form, Marwell, Habibti, and last year's winners, last but not least, Never So Bold. In fact, the last French horse to win it is a horse called Flutting Around. He was a good horse in his own right. But we're having a look at number 2 now. Double Schwartz has improved tremendously this season and is unbeaten in 2 starts, both Group 3 races. First of all, the Palace House Stakes at Newmarket, when he beat Clantime by a head, with Welsh Note back in 4th place. And then at Sandown, when winning the Temple Stakes by 2 lengths from Grey Desire, and that day had Petrovich a further neck back 3rd. He's a good horse, and as I was saying, he's improved gradually. He's 5-2 joint favourite. And his young trainer, Charlie Nelson, said that he's never known a horse improve so much between 4 and 5. He's got him looking a picture today. He's ridden by Pat Edery. Well, Pat Edery speaks for himself. Leading rider here and current leading rider at the moment this season. There he is, number 2, Double Schwartz. We'll try and find the other co-favourite for you from the 13 runners. And as I was saying, the last French horse to win the race was in fact Flirting Around. He was quite a nice horse, American bred. But there is Gwydion, the other joint favourite, 5-2. Last season Gwydion was unbeaten in 2 starts, a maiden at Newmarket, and the Group 3 Queen Mary Stakes here, which we've just seen beating Welsh Note and King's Coat by half a length and 3. It was tried over 7 furlongs at Newbury in the Fred Darling Stakes when she failed to see the distance through and finished 4th behind May Sue. Well, Henry Cecil has had to work hard on getting this filly back to sprinting distances. And as you can see there, perhaps she's just a little bit on edge. You can see her lad cooling Gwydion down the whole time, but he's had to bring this filly, as I say, back from training her for 7 furlongs back to the minimum distance of 5. Well, Henry's a past master at training racehorses, and he's done a great job, I would say, on her. Steve Cawthon, there's no quicker jockey out of the starting stalls, and so I think we'll see Gwydion up in the action for most of the way. One of the showstoppers of the meeting, the King's Stand Stakes, a Group 1 race for the first time this year, and a nearly £50,000 to the winner. And also a big, if a stallion or colt wins it, a big stallion tag at the end of his racing days, and also if either Storm Warning, Gwydion or Welsh Note should win it, well, they'd be worth anything for the paddocks. Polycratus, number 4. Merrick Francis, the son of the famous author Dick Francis, about to leg John Reed into the saddle. Polycratus would have to find a lot on his form to date to figure here. His last run, in fact, was at Lingfield, went 7th behind another of today's runners, Hallgate. And just look at that price, and I think that indicates what sort of chance Polycratus has. Number 11, just in front. This is Nomination. But number 14 is one of the 3 fillies. This is Welsh Note. Has been 4th in 2 starts this year at Newmarket in the Palace House Stakes behind Double Schwartz, and in a 5 furlong race at Leopardstown, this time behind Wolver Star. 14 to 1, so a little bit of money for her. Tony Ives, well, he's riding really well this season. He's looking for his 28th win of the season. Those will be going out on this Ian Balding trained filly. It's all muscle. Meanwhile, already down at the start, with the lead-in rein just through, is one of the other fillies. This is Storm Warning, the mount of Walter Swinburne, and trained by William Hastings Bass at Newmarket. Won once last season when ridden by Lester Piggott. That was a listed race at Doncaster in September, getting the better of Polycratus, who we've just seen, by half a length. 3 runs this year at Newmarket, Longchamp and Leopardstown, and is still looking for his first win. Nice filly by Tumblewind, but I think a little bit out of her class. Back with the other 13 runners, and there we have number 8, Fayrouz. Last start was at Lingfield, went 5th behind Hallgate, with a taller Tall and Stalker in front of him in 3rd and 4th position, so he's got a little bit to make up with 3 of the other runners today. But last year he's won 6 races in his career, but could have to surpass to all of his previous form to win today. And in fact, Peter O'Sullivan reminds me, in fact, he is a grandson of that super sprinter that Peter used to own, Be Friendly. There you can see the initials of Fayrouz's trainer, Bill O'Gorman, on the blinkers, but running in the colours of Mr. Fuslo. Well, a tranquil scene here for this, the last race of our televised programme of the Royal Meeting, and what a Royal Meeting we've had here. Gwydion 11 to 4, Double Schwartz a joint favourite at 11 to 4. Last Tycoon, the French Invader, at 5 to 1 and 8 to 1, bar those 3. We've all had a wonderful time here. Some super racing, and we hope you enjoyed it as well. This is number 3, Petrovic, finished just over 2 lengths 3rd behind Double Schwartz on his first run of the year. That was in the Temple Stakes at Sandown, and could improve a little bit on that, but has since disappointed when only 7th behind Clantime at Epsom on Derby Day. And I think the reason for that is that perhaps Petrovic didn't handle the track on that occasion. Brent Thompson in the saddle. Brent Thompson, number 1 rider for Barry Hills' stable. Barry's had such a super meeting here at Ascot with 3 winners at Royal Ascot. And tomorrow we go into Heath Day. And I hope you join us, because we've got 3 cracking races for you on Grandstand. And I think we're in for some great thrills. Number 10 going down a little bit freely. This is the French Invader, Last Tycoon, with Cash Asmussen in the saddle. A real 5 furlong specialist, has won 5 races in his career at Chantilly, Maison Lafitte and Longchamp. His 2 wins this year. The first at Longchamp, he got the better of Batave by a head That was in May, and 12 days ago ran on to beat Premier Couvet by half a length at Chantilly. Well, in the past, our sprinters have always had the legs on the French counterparts, but Robert Collet, who trains this Try My Best colt in France, thinks that he's perhaps the best sprinter that France has had for a little bit. As I was saying, the last French winner was Flirting Around, and John and I watched that race together. John, I think Flirting Around was a good horse. Would you think that Last Tycoon could be as good?
Well, he puts in a tremendous finish, Jimmy. If he's anywhere near the leaders, a furlong and a half from home, then you've got to fear him a lot, because he's won his races with spectacular late bursts. He's normally ridden by Yves Saint-Martin, who is injured. Yves was hoping to take the mount today, and it wasn't until a couple of days ago rather, that he regretted that he was unable to do the horse justice. So Cash Asmussen comes in for the mount. The horse with the stripes, At All, that's the one Cash would have ridden if Yves Saint-Martin had been fit to ride Last Tycoon. As it is, Michael Cannan, the Irish jockey, comes in for the mount, and a pretty good mount it is too, because At All won the Windsor Castle Stakes at the Royal Meeting, in fact, on this very day last year. He's a very big price at 20 to 1 from 16 to 1, because this colt loves fast ground and he can really go. And if you wanted to risk £1 each way, he'd certainly give you a run for your money, because I can see him being up with the leaders for a long way, even if he doesn't quite prove good enough in this class. Last time out at Lingfield, he raced all on his own on the far side. We've just lost At All for a moment, but as I was saying, at Lingfield last time out, he had to race all on his own on the far side, and he was just beaten in a 3-horse photo in the end by Hallgate and Bridesmaid. But that was his first run since the very first meeting of the season, and he's sure to be better for it. There he is, At All, and nearer to us, Welsh Note, number 14. Well, Welsh Note, as you saw, was beaten only narrowly by Gwydion in last year's Queen Mary Stakes. She's run twice this year, finishing 4th on both occasions. Double Schwartz now the clear favourite at 5 to 2. Gwydion is 3 to 1, and Last Tycoon is 5 to 1. Welsh Note was 4th to Double Schwartz in the Palace House Stakes at Newmarket, and at the beginning of this month was 4th to Wolver Star at Leopardstown, finishing in front of 2 of today's runners, Storm Morning and Sharp Romance, who are 9th and 10th. She's got a lot of early speed. Let's have a full show of betting.
And Double Schwartz, the fractional favourite, 5 to 2. Gwydion, 3 to 1. Last Tycoon, 5 to 1. Hallgate, 9 to 1. Domination is on 12 to 1. And Welsh Note is 14. Stalker, 16 to 1. 2 of them on 20 to 1, Storm Warning and At All, and Fairuz is 25 to 1, and I've just heard it's gone out to 33 to 1. Fairuz, 50 to 1 bar.
Well, Jimmy, there are a lot of fast starters in this race, notably At All and Stalker. I could see him being right up with them early. Who do you think is going to make it?
Well, it's a job to say. I think you've named the early leaders, John. At All, as you say, he's a little bit of a one with a chance, and he can also run very fast early. Sharp Romance, well, held by Double Schwartz, it seems, when they were 5th in the Temple Stakes at Sandown, but another one with a lot of speed. But it's going to be interesting to see what does go on. Double Schwartz 9 to 4, Gwydion 100 to 30, Last Tycoon 5 to 1, 9 to 1 bar those threes. But it's always a cracking race to watch, John, and I think we might see what I call really clear leader. We might see 3 or 4 upsides together.
Yes, if something's going to go clear of this field, Jimmy, it'll have to be very, very fast, because there's sure to be a really fast pace all the way on very fast ground in this 5-furlong race.
What's going to be interesting, John, is number 11, Nomination. He's coming back to a minimum trip. He's been running a little bit further than today. Double Schwartz 2 to 1 favourite, Gwydion 130, Last Tycoon 9 to 2, 9 to 1 bar those 3. There's Stalker. This is one of your fast ones, John.
Yes, he ran in the Lingfield race I was mentioning a little while earlier, Jimmy, when Hallgate just beat Bridesmaid in a tall, and he led them for a long way, and that was his first run of the season, so he may lead them a bit further this time.
Did some good work with Sperry the other day too, John.
Well, Sperry certainly didn't do any harm to that by winning yesterday's Cork and Orrery Stakes. 4 more to go in. Sharp Romance nomination has the blindfold on, Jimmy.
Yep, that's the one I was saying, John. I'm just wondering how he's going to get on now, coming back from sort of 6 and 7 furlongs to this very, very fast ground 5. But a nice horse, a lot of class, John. He's always been one of my favourites, I think. Didn't we see him win the Richmond together?
Yes, and he's back to 5 furlongs here. If I remember rightly, the Richmond was run on softish ground. This is 5 furlongs on fast, but Double Schwartz, 9-4 favourite. Earlier, he and Gwydion were joint favourites in the betting, but the backers have clearly plumped for Double Schwartz. He's 9-4 favourite. It's 7-2 Gwydion. 4-1 Last Tycoon, who's come in a bit. I think he went out to 5-1 at one time. And it's 9-1 Bar. Well, we'll very soon know if the backers have gone for the right one. Let's join Peter O'Sullivan.
Feyrouz the last in. That's it. Several appeals. Stalker giving trouble, but Stalker away all right. And very fast away, Hallgate towards the right of the picture. Hallgate and Storm Warning very fast in the centre, and Petrovich also. And Stalker the leader. Stalker the leader now. Stalker the clear leader on the stand side from Amigo Loco. Sharp Romance trailing him at the moment. Feyrouz running very fast in the centre. Gwydion's up there with the lead. And also Last Tycoon over on the far side. Upsides Petrovich. Storm Warning now from Feyrouz with Gwydion between horses. As they race towards the furlong pole, it's Gwydion in the centre over on the far side. It's Last Tycoon. Last Tycoon on the far side. Gwydion in the centre. Petrovich comes next. Double Schwartz putting in a tremendous run towards the near side. On the far side, it's Last Tycoon. On the near side, it's Double Schwartz. Last Tycoon and Double Schwartz as they race towards the line. Last Tycoon and Double Schwartz in a photo. Last Tycoon and Double Schwartz in a photo with Gwydion third. It's Last Tycoon on the far side. Double Schwartz on the near side. And Gwydion third. Last Tycoon ridden by Cash Asmussen and Double Schwartz ridden by Pat Edery, the 2 jockeys of the meeting. They fought this out in a photo, this King's Stand. See what you think as we review the closing stages with Julian Wilson.
Well, what a terrific race this was, and the champions of England, or the champion of France and the putative champion of England in terrific battle. Storm Warning really blazed a trail here. Feyrouz had a good chance in between the two of them with Gwydion. Cash just making his move on the outside now, and Pat Edery just starting to pull out Double Schwartz there. Just for a moment he seemed to be hanging in behind Feyrouz, and Pat had a little difficulty getting him balanced. And going to the furlong, he's got all of 4 lengths to make up. Here Cash has gone to the front on the French Challenger and goes a length and a half clear. Now Pat Edery's got Double Schwartz running. Gwydion's running on in 3rd place. Look at the terrific turn of foot by Double Schwartz. He makes up two lengths in the first 100 yards of that last furlong. But Cash Asmussen riding with his whip in his left hand. Look at the short leathers, his knees way above the pommel of the saddle. And Pat Edery sitting down to ride one of these famous driving finishes of his, which gets him to within a nostril of what seems to be the winner at the line. And it really is close. Last Tycoon, and on the stand side, Double Schwartz. Well, the head on, yes, certainly there were difficulties for Double Schwartz. There he is with the white cap, just tracking Feyrouz at present, having seemingly tracked in behind Feyrouz, and this made it difficult for Pat, because Cash has had an uninterrupted run on the outside on Fast Tycoon, who he's brought with a beautifully timed run to go clear here. Pat's now pulled his mount through, but just as he pulls round, Feyrouz Fayrouz, in fact, keeps running straight, but Pat's horse was just momentarily unbalanced when he saw daylight. And Pat looks over his right shoulder there. But now he's got daylight, but he's got ground to make up. More ground than it appears on the head-on view. Cash goes for his whip in his left hand. Now Pat's horse starts to hang right and, in fact, drifts over towards Last Tycoon. In fact, they're going to come quite close together at the end, but there's no contact. Cash with his whip in his left hand, Pat correctly with his whip in his right hand. A blitz finish, but for me it's not quite successful at the end of a thrilling race.
Well, desperately close this. We're still waiting for the outcome of the photo. Between number 10, Last Tycoon, and number 2, Double Schwartz. Here comes the outcome of the photo. First, number 10, Last Tycoon. Second, number 2, Double Schwartz. And third, number 13, Gwydion. Fourth was number 14, Welsh Note. And so, the official result of the Kingstown Stakes is first, number 10, Last Tycoon, owned by Mr. R.C. Strauss, trained by Robert Collet in France, ridden by Cash Asmussen. Second was number 2, Double Schwartz, owned by Mr. Robert Sangster, trained by Charlie Nelson, ridden by Pat Edery. And third was number 13, Gwydion, owned by Mr. Stavros Niarchos, trained by Henry Cecil, ridden by Steve Cawthon. And fourth, her great rival here last year as a 2-year-old in the Queen Mary, Welsh Note. The distance is the minimum distance, a short head and 2.5 lengths. So Cash Asmussen's third winner of the season. And there a lad I recognized well, putting the sheet on Last Tycoon, because I've seen him for the last 3 mornings up here working. He's been the first out every morning, and his lads, his 2 lads, they've looked after him so well. They led him down every time to the 5-furlong work ground for him to do his little bit of work. Didn't let him do too much, because as a sprinter he's like a coiled spring, and they didn't want to do too much with him, just keep him nice and fresh. And I'm glad to say I selected him for both my readers in today. But my goodness, what a near thing. First time the French have won it since Flirting Around, and the first major success for them in England of the season since Santa Steph won the Coronation Cup. Only had the 2 big successes, but what successes they were. So as we await the full starting prices for the Kingstown Stakes of 1986, here are the results so far.
The last day of Royal Ascot started with the 2:30 and was won by number 2, Carol's Treasure, 6-5 favourite. Second, number 6, Singing Stephen, 10-1. And third, number 12, Copper Red, 20-1. The 305, first number 6, Dear Stan, 11-2. Second, number 2, St. Hilarion, 8-1. And third, number 7, Iroko, 5-1. The 345, the Wokingham Handicap, first number 21, Touch of Grey, 20-1. The second, number 9, Manim Star, 33-1. The third, number 20, Perfect Timing, 10-1 favourite. And fourth, number 5, Our Jock, 20-1. Red car, the 350, first number 4, The Clown, 9-4 co-favourite. Second, number 5, Jackdaw, 9-4 co-favourite. And third, number 12, Donalto, 9-4 co-favourite, and 6 ran. Air 330, first number 3, Mr. Point, 9-2. Second, number 14, The Crying Game, 12-1. And third, number 10, Swift River, 8-1. And the 4 o'clock at Air was won by number 9, Magdalen Gate, 85-40 favourite. Second, number 16, Countess Carlotti, 9-2. And third, number 15, Cooper Racing Nail, 5-1. And there we have the ESPYs for the race just around the 4:20 at Royal Ascot. First, number 10, Last Tycoon, 9-2. Second, number 2, Double Schwartz, 9-4 favourite. And third, number 13, Gwydion, 100-30.
Well, what a climax to our coverage of the Royal Meeting. And the winning time there was a sensational 59.28 seconds. And that, believe it or not, is a fraction of a second, 0.01 of a second, outside the record established by another French challenger, Amberama, in 1970. And that leaves the position at the head of the Ritz Club trophy. Well, Pat Edry is unassailable, but Cash Asmussen's running to the line because Cash moves on to 3. He's got a big chance here on Georgia River in this 5th race, but he's no shout in the last. So Pat's won it. Cash looks like being 2nd. Brent Thompson and Willie Carson joint 3rd. This is the moment